Hey guys, so today I'm going to be filming my top 10 favorite MAC eyeshadows, and I'm going to be sticking with the permanent range because I know how much it sucks when someone mentions one of their favorites and it happens to be limited edition and you can't get a hold of it. So I'm just going to make them from the permanent range, and I'm doing this for one of my subscribers. This is for Kayla. She probably comments on every single one of my posts and videos, and the least I can do for you, girl, is to make this request that you asked for. So this goes out to you, and I hope you enjoy it, and I hope this helps anyone else out there who is interested in some of my favorite MAC eyeshadows, because I know this has kind of been requested before, but I've never got around to it. I know I did a top 10 favorite MAC lipsticks, and that seemed to go over really well with you guys, so I'm going to just go through all my MAC eyeshadows, and I know I have a lot, but I'm going to pick out my favorite 10 for you. So if you want to see my top 10 favorite MAC eyeshadows, then stay tuned. This is actually pretty impossible for me to pick just 10 MAC eyeshadows that I really like, but I'm going to try my best. The first eyeshadow I'm going to talk about is MAC Brule eyeshadow, and this is a satin finish, but it shows up on my skin matte. It doesn't have any shimmer or sheen really. It's just a really beautiful matte shade, and that's what it looks like on my skin. It really doesn't do that much, or you really wouldn't be able to tell, but it is definitely a really nice all over lid shade and also a really great highlight. It's very versatile. I use this nearly every day, and actually just yesterday I hit pan on this eyeshadow, so it's definitely one of those colors that I reach for a lot, and I would recommend this to anyone who is looking for a really great everyday eyeshadow that you can use on your lid or as a highlight. Another highlight that I'm going to talk about is Shroom eyeshadow, and this is just the perfect highlight. It's not too pink, not too yellow. It's just a really great highlight for every single day in the tear duct on your brow bone. You can use this all over your lid as well. This is also another satin formula, but this actually does show up with quite a bit of sheen. There is a slight difference. Brule is more matte, Shroom is more of a sheen, so when you're looking for a matte highlight, I would go with Brule. You just want a perfect highlight for your brow bone or tear duct that isn't too pink, too yellow, that would go with basically any color combination you have on your lid, then I would choose Shroom. Yet another highlight and neutral shade I'm going to talk about is MAC Nylon, and this is a frost finish, and I really like this because it is such a strong highlight color, and it is very yellow tone. It's warm tone, so it's great for when I'm tan or when I'm using warm shades on my lids, which I typically do. Not today, actually, for once. I did film a tutorial on this, but usually I wear warm shades, but this just has the most insane sheen to it. It's very yellow and has a very high sheen to it. The lighting's not the greatest in here, and it just has the most insane, gorgeous sheen to it. I would use it all over my lid. Usually I just use it on my brow bone as a highlight, and it's the one that I reach for basically every time I'm going out at night, going clubbing or whatnot. Just Nylon is my go-to highlight shade. I love Nylon. It has to be one of my favorite eyeshadows, and I could not include it in this video. I was trying to decide for an all-over lid shade that I would use and suggest. I was debating between either Naked Lunch, All That Glitters, or Grain, and I know a lot of you have probably heard about Naked Lunch and All That Glitters, but I don't think Grain is talked about that much, and I'd have to say that Grain is the best of both worlds for all those eyeshadows, and if I were to pick one out of all three, I would have to go with Grain. It's just a beautiful all over the lid shade, and I like wearing this with a bit of foley in the crease or any kind of red tone brown, any brown basically. You could put anything in the crease with Grain on the lid and it would just look phenomenal, but a go-to eyeshadow combination using Grain of mine is putting just foley in the crease, and it just creates a beautiful everyday look, and it just really accentuates my green eyes. So Love that color combination, even though I didn't include fully in my favorites. Grain is definitely in my top 10. Also, one more thing, Grain, surprise surprise, is a satin finish, and it's a really great formula to work with. You can tell I like satins a lot. They're just great and easy to work with, easy to blend. Great beginner shades I would suggest for anyone starting out, and they basically take no work, no time to blend. I think Volux Pearl are also really great shades for beginners if you're looking into just a shade you could grab and just throw on your lid or whatnot. I know Wood-Winged eyeshadow is recommended a lot to beginners because it grabs the light just so well. You put it on your lid and it looks like you just put on like a ton of different eyeshadows when you didn't even put on two, you just put on one. So you could just throw that on your lid and it would just capture the light and give dimension to your eye with just one shadow. So I would definitely recommend that color for a beginner, but it didn't make mine. It pulls really orange on me personally, so I don't grab it that often, but I do really like the shade when I'm putting it on other people. My number one favorite eyeshadow for blending out my crease as a transition color is MAC Wedge eyeshadow, and this is a matte shade. I love matte eyeshadows. They are great, especially for mature skin. I was going to decide between either soft brown or wedge for my blending out transition color, but clearly when Wedge takes the cake. This was the first eyeshadow that I hit pan on, and I've just used so much of this eyeshadow. It's crazy. Like, for pretty much any look, I would use Wedge in my crease, but I just use other shades to switch it up because I don't want to use this so much. So I could just live with Wedge as my blend out color and not buy any other transition color ever, and I would be content. I just absolutely love Wedge. I recommend this 100 times over. It's so funny, when going through all my palettes, I didn't even look at the finishes of the shades. I just looked at the ones that I used and that I use the most often, and they all happen to be satins. So this is MAC Soba eyeshadow, and it's a satin. It is a gold brown with shimmer, and this is just perfect in the crease of my eye. I absolutely love using this in combination with Urban Decay Primer Potion and Sin. I will put Sin all over my lid, and I will put this in my crease, and Sin obviously acts as a primer, as a base, and this just in the crease just gives a beautiful everyday eye. They both have a nice sheen to it. It just makes me glow, look natural. It's great for when I have a tan. I'll even do it when I don't have a tan. It's just my go-to everyday look. Like, I use that combination probably more than any other eyeshadow combination when I'm just stuck and don't know what to do but want to look put together, natural, and just glowy. I'll just put Sin all over my lid and then Soba in the crease, and it's just such a great color. I actually forgot to swatch Wedge for you, which I'm going to go back and do quickly. And that is Wedge right on the edge. And this is Soba. Soba is definitely darker. It has a shimmer sheen in it. Our Wedge is obviously matte, so gradually getting a bit darker in my shades, but obviously this is all really neutral, so you can tell I just like my neutral everyday eyeshadows, and I would definitely recommend these to anybody. This would be like my perfect palette. If I was to create just a 10 eyeshadow palette, this would be the colors that I would choose. I have a bunch of dark brown eyeshadows that I use. I use Espresso, Embark, Foley, Brun, just a lot of different browns, and I really like the browns with red tints in them, but I decided to go with MAC Brun eyeshadow, and it is a satin, of course, and this is just perfect as a liner, or you can even use this to fill in your brows if you want. I know people do that, but I don't use this color for my brows, but it just works great to deepen up the outer V or as an everyday eyeliner. It's great for smoking out looks, and it basically shows up matte on me even though it's a satin. but that is Brun. I used to use Espresso all the time, but I switched to Brun because it is a bit darker and it's easier to work with because Espresso is a matte and Brun's a satin, so I just find it blends a whole lot better. I recently picked up a ton of new eyeshadows. If you've been following me on Instagram, you know that I've just been doing a ton of MAC hauls and specifically a lot of eyeshadows. And I picked up 2 new ones. I couldn't decide which one is my favorite because I've been using both pretty much every single day, and I had to include one or the other into my top 10 even though I haven't used them that long, but because I love them so much. But they are Saddle, which is a matte shade, and Charcoal Brown. Charcoal Brown is a taupe brown, a muted taupe brown, and it is a matte, and Saddle is a matte as well, but it is a very warm golden orangey brown. And orangey brown colors look just great, I think, on anyone. I just love orange in general. Brule, orange, burnt orange, anything with an orange or red tint I absolutely love. But I decided to choose Saddle over Charcoal Brown because Charcoal Brown I've been using actually to fill in my eyebrows, and I don't know if you can tell a difference in them as of lately, but I've been using a powder and I just think this is the perfect shade for my eyebrows. So I've been absolutely loving Charcoal Brown, but I just wanted to test it out a bit more because you know I love my Makeup Forever Aqua Brow, and I don't typically switch up my brows for too long if I do try something new. So I just wanted to test it out a bit more and see if I do like it, but I have been using that on my brows. And then MAC Saddle eyeshadow, as I said, has that orangey brown color in it, which is just great for the crease. And the blendability of this shadow, even though it's a matte, is absolutely phenomenal. You could be just a beginner in makeup and your makeup would look pro if you just use this in your crease. Like, I don't even have to work at all at putting this in my crease. It just smokes out everything completely perfect, and you don't have to do any work whatsoever. Now, after all these really neutral light shades, I'm going to show you a couple dark ones, and one is a bit of a color, which is a surprise because I do have all neutrals, but it is MAC Nehru eyeshadow, and this is a bluish black, and I really like blues for my green eyes because it just makes it pop. This in my crease to deepen anything up will just add that extra little bit of something to make your eye a little bit more interesting. It's not just your typical black. I'm actually going to be doing a whole look just using MAC Nehru eyeshadow after probably this video, but this is great all over your lid as a liner or just to deepen up your crease. And if you have green eyes like me, it's just going to look so good. I just absolutely love this just to add a little bit of extra something to my eyes just to make them pop. I'm getting low on my arm here. So that is Nehru. You probably can't even tell like the bluish color it has or the quality to it, but it is really easy to blend. It will work phenomenal in the crease of your eye as a liner, as I said, or even all over the lid, which I'm going to show you in a makeup tutorial coming soon, which I think you guys are really going to like. And then last but not least, I had to include it because I use it next to every day. It is MAC Carbon eyeshadow, and it is also a matte color. I have hit pan on this because I do use it quite often. And MAC has Black Tide, which has silver sparkle in it, but I like my matte shades, so I definitely chose Carbon as one of my favorites. And I know like every company has their black shade that they market or whatever, and there isn't too much difference between the brands, to be honest, but I just really love how extremely dark and pigmented MAC Carbon is, and it's just been a staple in my collection for so long that I'll always constantly repurchase that. So after debating my Charcoal Brown and Saddle, I came up with these shades as my top 10, and I think they're just great for just everyday looks, and I think everyone could get great use out of these colors, even though they happen to be my favorites. But I think they would work for pretty much everybody, and I think I have a good range of crease colors, liners, highlights. These are all my shades. I'm going to go wash off my arm now, but I hope you guys enjoyed this video. You have some ideas of maybe some colors that you may want to purchase next, and definitely like this video if you liked it, and I will know that you enjoy these top 10 type videos. So I hope this helped you guys out and that you can go play with the MAC Permanent range. They have some great shades, and these are just some of my favorite. I do have more, but these are my top 10, and I would recommend every single one to you guys. So hope you guys have a good day, and I will see you in my next video.